First of all, I really want to thank you for coming here today. You know, it's a pleasure and honor to stand here and celebrate this anniversary of this idea that we started last year with you today. And I was hoping that today would be a great kickoff for the next year. So I want to talk to you again about the same idea, the PHPEP, and redirect your attention for the next year to the same idea. And I really don't want that you agree with me or believe me or even follow me at all. I just want you today to listen to me with your open heart. And then if really what I say or what I propose sounds good, feels right in your heart, then I want you to really collaborate with me next year to enhance this idea, not only in this facility, but also other places. So I'm really counting on you guys to help me for the next year. So PHPEP is an idea. It's to create a culture in our healthcare based on essence of humanity. You know, restoring the essence of humanity, which based on our profession, the most important ones are compassion, connection, care, and kindness. And how we do that is to full attention to two elements. One is well-being of our health professional, and number two is creating patient experience. But why is it so important? These two elements are so important in achieving our goal. You know, you might ask me right now, Dr. Iraniha, are you kidding us? You know, listen to the radio, you know, turn on the TV, read the newspaper. In this era of, you know, animosity and hostility, the era of war, and you know, human inequality, in the era of natural disasters, what is the point of talking about, you know, being a good human being? What is the point of talking about honoring humanity and striving to be a good human being? But you know, I argue that today is the most important time to adhere to this essence of humanity. And you know why? Because if you look at the history of the mankind, this is the only thing that kept us together. So this is a time to recognize what has been separated us and created that culture of indifference among us, and what has been the true remedy in the history of mankind. These are the virtues that have been accepted with everyone, with every religion, every group, culture, nation, throughout the history and world. So, for instance, in our healthcare, you know, despite all of these incredible advances in our technology, you know, the way that we understand the disease, and how many important improvement that we had so far with our treatments, we're still facing with a culture of indifference in our healthcare, facing with so many unsatisfied patients and health professional burnout. Don't you agree? And why? Why do we care? You know, you know what's going on right now, right? Everybody talks about patient experience. But why should we, as a health professional, care about patient experience from the first place? And it's so funny to me that it's really absurd that people that making decisions, thinking that enforcement of policies and procedures can motivate the overwhelmed, exhausted, and frustrated health professional to create patient experience. It has to come from your heart and from your soul. It has to be authentic. But how do we do that? How can we do that? And you know, in my opinion, it's all about well-being of health professionals. It's a full attention to well-being of health professionals, to motivate them, to self-motivate them to create this patient experience for themselves. And you know why, on the other hand, when they do that, when you create that patient experience, because it's always associated, or most of the time, associated with the gratitude and appreciation, it boosts that well-being, that experience of full life. There's no question that institution has the main rule and critical element to improve your well-being by providing you adequate, economic and environmental, resources. No question. But how about us? What about happened to the personal responsibility? There's so many recent scientific discoveries that has been shown that we have the power of change our mind and our attitude towards the well-being. It's all about us. So PHPEP talks about personal responsibility towards our full life and fulfillment. It's all about self-growth, self-development, self-inspiration. It's about taking charge and controlling our destiny. It's about understanding and believing that it's possible, even in the hardest time of our life, to make the choice to change our mindset, our attitude, and our behavior. So let's talk about self-growth and self-responsibility and self-development, right? So most of us are living, robotically in life. Don't you agree? Waking up in the morning, going to work, miserable, sometimes even exhausted before we go into work. Not liking our job, not just medical, I'm talking about overall, in general. Almost 85% of people in the United States, they don't like their job. And coming back home more miserable and tired and exhausted. And most of us are okay with it, We like to live in a comfort zone. It's hard to change because sometimes it's associated with more pain and discomfort. We like to stay in that comfort zone because life and change could be associated with a lot of discomfort. We've seen it, right? Changing the EPIC system here. But most of us also feel regret down the road, many years down the road, when we have time to look back in our lives and reflect on what happened. Most of us are regret. And you know why you regret? Because you regret that you lost so many opportunities to create change and savor the full life. You feel like you weren't comfortable and content by just staying in that comfort zone. So when we started this project last year, I can tell you, I've seen so many faces here. They told me it is hard. It's not going to happen. Dr. Iraniha, you don't understand. Dr. Iraniha, we have too much pressure. We have too many tasks and obligations. It's not going to happen. And when they told me you don't understand, I said, today is the best day for me to confess, to talk to you about my life story, not to expose myself, but just to tell you that I understand. I know what it takes. You know, I didn't have a great childhood. I born and raised in a financially low middle-class family, but with a lot of heart and a lot of pride. I remember I used to, the way I was thinking about the world, the way I saw the world, and things that I expected from life, you know, made me believe initially that life is so unfair to me. But then soon I realized that I have to stop blaming life. I have to start working hard to make changes, because life is not responsible for my circumstances. I had to work harder than anybody else, push and fight inch by inch and never give up. You remember, I used to daydream about what I wanted to be, what I expected from life, what I wanted to accomplish in life. And that desire, that discipline made me who I am. I wasn't gifted at all, and I knew that. But there was something inside of me was different. I felt the pain and the struggle and negative energy, and I was able to turn them to positive, incredibly positive, powerful motivation in my life. When I was 18, I started medical school, and I fell in love with medicine. You know, the human body was so fascinating to me. The idea about the physiology and how it functioned, and the pathophysiology of the disease and how we care other people was so incredible to me. So I started studying so hard, harder than anybody else in my class. And I used to dream about coming to US to continue my education. And I remember when I was talking to my family and my friends, they would always tell me, "You're crazy. It never would happen." Because the position I had, the financial class that I was, coming to US and study was a very long shot. But I never stopped dreaming. And I continued to work hard. I worked so hard that finally, eventually, opportunity opened up. And I went to Toronto in 1992 to pursue my dream. And my English was so bad that in the airport, transit airport in London, I couldn't understand the announcer that was kept calling me to come to get my boarding pass for the next flight. And I missed that flight. And I had to stay 24 hours in the airport before I get to the next flight. So with all those discomforts and problems that I had, finally, after a year passing the exams and doing interviews, finally got into the position in Toronto General Hospital to start my training. At that time, I had a very fixed budget. You know, after I paid my rent and boarding pass and pay for my phone bill, I just had $10, less than $10 for last 2 weeks of every month to eat. And I remember I had the discipline to buy a dozen hot dog and eat one hot dog a night for only meal of the day. But, you know, financial difficulty was not a problem at all for me. The first 3 months of my training was horrendous. You know, I was in Toronto General Hospital. I was assigned to surgical ICU. And we talk about the ICU. It was a massive ICU. So many beds. It was people coming in from other places of Ontario to get treated in that ICU. And it was run by a director, extremely famous, extremely smart, well-known, well-published, but very cruel and harsh. I remember every day I had to present my patient in the morning round. And we talk about morning round, we're talking about massive morning round with all the ICU physicians, with the director, all the residents and students, all the nurses, physical therapists, respiratory therapists, dietitianists, everyone. So many people gather around to talk about patients. And with my English, I had to, just like today, I had to memorize what I wanted to say and present that patient to him. But it wasn't adequate. I had so much knowledge about the question that he was asking me, but I couldn't present myself. And for some reason, he didn't like me at all. So every day, he would embarrass me in front of everyone, belittle me, and criticize me. So it was so bad that after 2 weeks, none of the students, none of the residents, no nurses want to talk to me. And I remember at night when I was taking call, they would bypass me to other residents to get orders, and they ignored me the whole night. So when I was going home, alone, had nobody to talk to, no friend, I remember that disappointment and loneliness would kick in. And I would sit down and cry for a few hours in my room. But then I would turn around everything in my mind to massive positive energy, to wake up in the morning and go back to work the next day with my head up and be there earlier than anybody else, leave longer, stay longer than anybody else in that ICU, learn and grow. I felt like a, punching bag that I was going in, and those boxers that hit the bag? I felt like a punching bag every day. That process was 3 months. It was a daily mental torture. But you know what? I got stronger. Every day, I got stronger and stronger. And it was just all power of mind. When I came to United States, the training in United States was not a breeze too. I had to go through so many hurdles and hard days. But finally I graduated in year 2000 and started my practice by myself among fierce competition. So I had a great time until 2012. 2012, something happened to me. I don't know what happened, but I felt that life, I was at the top of my life. I was healthy, fit, exercise. I had great family and friends. On top of my practice, well established and also well respected, even though I wasn't famous. But I didn't feel content. I felt something major missing in my life. And first I didn't understand what that is. Every day looked like yesterday. I felt like I'm losing my energy, my zest, my enthusiasm for life. And then finally something kicked in. I realized what's missing in my life is contribution to life. That's missing. And that's why I dared myself, to start this program. to me, life is like a river, with mysterious beginning and end that takes us through a journey with, ups and downs, happiness and sadness, with a lot of heartbreak and love, with disappointment and pain and pleasure. Life is extremely unpredictable. It can take you to very dark places, but also it can land you on incredibly beautiful locations. And in this journey, we have two options. One is let life to take us wherever it wants to take us, or take charge, create change, swim away from the place that we wish. Of course, it will be associated with a lot of pain and discomfort. It might be associated with a disappointment and heartbreak. But I promise you, the key to get there is the belief. Is the belief that it's possible. It is possible. And then discipline to work hard. To get prepared. And prepared not only to reach our dream, but also in this journey to give, to contribute to life, and to love and be grateful. Now, healthcare professional, as a healthcare professional, we have an incredible position in life. You might not realize it, but I can tell you, you're here for me to tell you. And that's the whole idea about the PHPEP. That's what I found out 3 years ago, that we have an incredible position in life just due to nature of our profession. Because health profession is like a platform for us to experience the full life. But how? What does that mean? Okay, the first and most important thing is our mindset. It's changing our mindset. It's understanding and realizing that what we do in a daily basis, it's always involve caring and healing others. It's something way beyond ourselves. It's incredible meaning for life, a purpose. That has been given to us. So just understanding that, realizing when we come to work, this is not a job. This is a life work. This is something towards your well-being and for your contentment. Because we deal in this job not only to relieve people pain and heal their physical problems, but we can engage with their soul. And you might say, we have so many difficult patients, it's so hard. But when you have that mindset that this is for you, this is something above and beyond yourself, and that patient, when they look at your eyes and look at your face and sees that moment, that's the experience we're talking about. It feels that humanity in the other person. That creates something inside of you. That's called contentment. Also, what healthcare and medical profession does, it gives you the opportunity to create connection in a deeper level with people, other people that are in need, your colleagues that they need help, and practice you know, the essence of humanity, the compassion, care, and kindness every day. And when you do that as an exercise, and remind yourself every day you want to come into work, that why you doing this, and I have to do this. You know what happens to you? It changes you. It changes you. It creates a virtuous character inside of you. And that's authentic. That's not by force. It's not a policy. It's not a task. And when you think about the healthcare, when you come to work and you see people that are in need, and you say, this is my contribution to life, it's not because I'm checking in and checking out to make money. And when you create that connection with the other people just because they need you and you need them to inspire you for life, then other things around you feel so trivial. You know, having 4 or 5 patients, or me sitting in front of the computer and writing a lot of notes, those are so trivial. You don't pay attention to it. When I operate, when I go to the operating room and operate, and I feel that I'm in heaven, you know, somebody gives me that trust for me to perform surgery, to heal, to cure. And that's so priceless. I don't feel pain. You know, I'm not young anymore, so I got a lot of knee and joint problems and stuff, but I don't feel pain anymore. So I know every one of you. I know that there's goodness inside of you. And when I started this idea, I thought for contribution to life, I want to inspire people and I want to motivate people. But then I realized that I have to be inspired myself by you. And please, I'm asking you to let's get together and do something incredible, something remarkable. You know, if you think about it, if somebody hear what I say, they might laugh at me, but it's possible. Just imagine, think about how your life would be if everyone thinks that way when you come to work, right? So let's leave a mark, let's leave a legacy, and it doesn't matter how many of you believe in this, but when few years down the road, when we sit down in front of the mirror and think about our past and reflect on our life and say to ourselves, who are we? What did we contribute to life? Then you think about these moments and tell yourself, I did it. You know, I did it. And I promise you, in this process, even if we don't get there, you will see the change inside of you. You will see the self-growth, and the most important thing, self-respect. I promise you. Thank you.